Update 4 on Typhoon Nari, which is currently located just to the east of Vietnam, to the south of Hainan Island in China, with wind speeds of 85 miles per hour and a pressure of 967 millibars. That's a Category 1 storm on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale. The position is currently 16.0 degrees north, 109.9 degrees east, and is expected to make landfall in Vietnam in the next 12 hours actually, as a minimal typhoon, possibly weakening to a high-end tropical storm by the time it does make landfall. But either way, it will be borderline, and we could see some typhoon conditions along the coast of Vietnam, certainly typhoon force gusts over the next 12 to 24 hours. The storm will then move inland over Thailand possibly and dissipate eventually. So this is the current situation. Typhoon warnings in effect for the coast of Vietnam, and orange typhoon warning in effect for southern Hainan in China at the moment, with the typhoon bearing down on the Vietnamese coast right now, closer to the Vietnamese coast than the Chinese coast. But warnings in China nonetheless, as the storm's influence probably extends that far north as well. So this is the current graphic for the probability of tropical storm and typhoon conditions. The red area is typhoon conditions possible in the next 24 hours, obviously fairly expected in some areas, and the orange areas, the orange markings there are tropical storm conditions in the next 24 hours. You can see quite a large amount of coastline shaded in some sort of colour there. The current sea surface temperatures are fairly warm, around 27-28 degrees Celsius, which is certainly enough for tropical storms to maintain themselves or indeed perhaps develop slightly. But in the case of Nari, it does appear that the storm will weaken a little bit more before landfall. This is what the current models are saying. Fairly straightforward as far as Nari is concerned, with the CMC making landfall in Vietnam, moving through Laos and then dissipating over Thailand, with the other storm Whiffer moving towards Japan and just bypassing the Japanese coastline there as it moves towards the northeast, with two new storms forming behind those as well in the next few days. The GFS model also has Nari moving inland and dissipating over northern Thailand, with Whiffer moving towards Japan as well and just passing the coast there, making a closer approach actually, possibly making landfall in the southeastern corner of Honshu, with two new storms forming there as well behind those storms too. The latest satellite imagery then, you can see how the storm's been progressing towards the east. No clear eye, at least on the visible imagery, but you can certainly see the central core of the storm moving closer towards the Vietnamese coast and just offshore now. The real centre of the storm, the central core of the storm where the most intense rainfall is, still just off the coast at the moment, but that will obviously change in the next 12 hours. That's probably when we'll see landfall, coming up in around 9 to 12 hours, I'd say. You can see over Hainan Island as well, getting some rain. Not too bad over there, but we could be seeing some tropical storm conditions, tropical storm winds occurring on the southern part of that island. And of course in Vietnam we'll probably see some tropical storm conditions over quite a large area, possibly typhoon conditions as well, as I said earlier. So in the world tropics right now, we currently have two tropical storms in the eastern Pacific, Octave and Priscilla, and we also have Invest 98L, which is not likely to develop near the Lesser Antilles. Phelan's well dissipated now over India. Obviously that one made landfall as a Category 4 storm, and we have the two typhoons at the moment, Nari and Whiffer, both weakening at the moment. Nari's come down from 90 miles per hour 6 hours ago, and Whiffer's come down from 120 down to 110, which is Category 2 intensity, as it moves towards the north, passing the Japanese Daito Islands right now, and expected to move towards the northeast. So 2013, it's the 57th busiest season on record in the Western Pacific, that's with 22 tropical storms so far, 11 typhoons, and those two figures are level with 2008, though the only difference there is the amount of Category 3 typhoons, which is just lower this year, so far at least, 6 compared to 8 in 2008. And as you can see, all those are the seasons as well, which 2013 compares to, and will rise above a lot of those if we do get our 23rd storm in the next few days. You can also find out the latest information on these storms on the Force 13 website. That's what the Western Pacific page is looking like right now on your screen there. And for the main page, you can visit force13.com/stormtracking.html. You're presented with the world map showing where all the storms are, including Invest and post-tropical cyclones around the world, with tables at the top and bottom showing their intensities and indeed any warnings that are currently in effect. Obviously we have warnings right now in effect for Vietnam and China. None in Japan just yet, but that may change. change over the next few hours as the storm draws closer to the Japanese coast. They're likely to accelerate fairly quickly off to the northeast, so in between videos you might want to check that one out. There'll be an update on WIFA probably later today. Elsewhere on the web, we're on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Force 13 on either of those mediums. You should find us fairly easily enough. And as always, please do show your support by doing the usual means of engagement: liking, subscribing, commenting, favoriting, following, or indeed anything else that you can think of. If you have any questions or comments on this storm, you can just submit a comment underneath this video or by private message if you so wish, and I'll do my best to get back to you in a timely manner. The next update on this storm will probably... I'm not sure whether we'll do a video update on this storm, but as it's making landfall fairly soon. But stay up to date on the website. We'll probably have the latest up-to-date information on that, with an update on on Typhoon WIFA coming up later this evening, probably on the Force 13 channel. But until then, that's all for now.